everybody, welcome back to Piano Practice Partner. We are on lesson... Ooh, something's falling over behind me. What was it? That's nothing important. We are on lesson number 7. Well done, everybody. Last week we were looking at the 2-5-1 sequence, which was very exciting. And to understand what that was, playing the minor 2, the 5, the dominant, and then the 1, the tonic. So we learned some new terms for how we referred to chords within sequences. And then we maybe added some variations, some inversions, which we'd looked at the previous week. Instead of playing the G here, we may have gone from the D to the G to the C, or the D to the G to the C. So we're using inversions in our right hand to help add some ornamentation, some difference in the sound, and also make it easier for our hands rather than jumping up and down the keyboard and feeling very tired. We also spoke about potentially embellishing the 2-5-1, because this is good. This is solid, but it's like the basic version. And we could do some more things. So we spoke about what is known as like adding a 7th. But we're not going to look at that for now. As a little teaser for later down the line. We'll get into all of that for sure, and then we'll learn again how to apply that to other chords we've already learned. So we're layering on, rather than learning something new from scratch and feeling like we're having to start all over again. By incrementally building, hopefully what we're doing is we're solidifying the information we already know. We're doubling down on that and really getting to grips with the ins and outs of it, and then just layering on a little bit more. And then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And so we're expanding. Rather than trying to go immediately up, build a tower straight up, which might mean we get higher quicker, is very, very wobbly. Ooh, it's going to wave in the wind quite a lot. Whereas if we build a really strong base and then slowly build up, we're going to get so much higher because, you know, we're out of shot. That's how high we've gone, because we've really understood and laid this strong foundation. So we'll get to all that stuff later. The 7th, the 5th, the flattened 6th, the 9th. All that good stuff we'll cover in future lessons. But for now, I just want to get us playing and listening to ourselves and essentially improvising. What is improvising? Improvising is making something up on the spot. Maybe you have a thought or an idea, or you play something, and then you would riff, improvise, make up something based upon those ideas or based upon the information you've just received. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might feel very panicked. Well, I can't improvise. I don't know enough about this thing to be able to freely move around. And I get it. I'm exactly in that place as well. But what's quite fun is we know the C major scale, right? We've been doing this for a while. It's familiar to us. We're not heading up to any of these black keys. And we know that it's a C major scale, no matter where we are on the keyboard. So just with our right hand, rather than playing it in that sequence, what happens if we just have a little fiddle around and just play something like that? Cool. And then what happens if I go up here? That kind of sounds cool. What we learned about tension and resolution the other day, or last week, from going here, kind of ended back to C there, which felt like... feels like we're coming back home, quite intuitively. So let's take some of the elements we've learned from previous lessons. So we remember a few weeks ago we looked at rhythm. So we learned about crotchets, 1, 2, 3, 4. We learned about quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we learned about semiquavers. I'm going to play them slower. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... So we can take this and play with rhythm. We're not trying to compose something. We're not trying to make the best riff ever written, but just have a little play this week, I think. This maybe feels like quite a lazy lesson. I promise you it is not a lazy lesson. It is laying the path for us to start listening to what we're playing and be curious about patterns and what sounds good from what we're sort of understanding and hearing. Because next week we're going to be looking at a blues scale. And rather than overwhelm you with like some new stuff to learn, I thought it'd be quite fun just have a little play with all of these white notes within a C major scale. You can literally stick between these two Cs if you want and just use these 8 notes. Rather than getting overwhelmed with all of this just yet, we can stick here and be curious. What happens if you do octave and then down? That's something. And maybe do it the other way around. That's something. And then maybe play a little pattern if you're going. What happens if then you do repeat that, but just starting from the note lower down? So. And just then, that little bit. That's just the C major scale that I played with the hand position. I've just broken up the rhythm a little bit. Play. There's no wrong answers. There's no wrong notes you can do within this, right? So this is going to be a little bit of fun. This is part of learning the piano. It's not just like learning the theory and the chords and, okay, how do these relate to each other? But also listening and responding. Because hopefully one would want to, even if you're not writing your own music, you just want to learn songs that are already in existence, being able to hear something in your ear now. I just made that up. I hadn't pre-planned that at all. That was me improvising, as what we were saying we were just doing. But taking the chords we've already learned, G, A minor, F, and just seeing what happens. So by taking this C major, see what little patterns, little melodies you can come up with. And even playing that just then, boom. That's just the Star Wars theme. And then, again, I didn't plan that. I just started playing and heard it and went, oh, cool. There's so much discovery we can be made just within these 8 notes. So that's the lesson this week. I promise you it's not phoned in. I think there's a real merit and value in just playing, listening, responding, being curious. Like, what happens if I do? Okay, yeah, I didn't really like the end of that, but I like this bit, so let's try and recreate that. Who knows what you'll create? If it's not quite working, don't worry about it, don't stress, just put it to one side, create something new. We're not, like I say, we're trying to write a symphony, we're just having a little play and listening and being curious about what you're hearing and responding to that. Drop a comment down below, let me know what you've discovered, if you find that type of exercise fun, where it's a bit more free, or whether you want a bit more structure with, okay, I want to know that I'm going. Or whether you quite like the concept of going, I'll just figure out my own thing. But in that figuring out, play with the rhythm, play with dynamics as well. We haven't spoken about that yet, but you know, how soft or how loud you're playing and see what that does for it. Have fun practicing and seeing what you can come up with. I'm going to do exactly the same right now and just enjoy making some noise. I hope you do too, and I'll see you next week.